again for generations.
That's the witness of the Gospels.
As far as I'm telling you, the Gospels are concerned, this is the story which I have just told. I mean, this is exactly the reconstruction of the story from the Gospels.
Missing out his appearances, or
not only that, I will miss another very important point. I'm coming to that. The other important witness, another witness tells us that he ascended to heaven, and in a great glory. You know, a sort of in flame, and something happened suddenly.
Angels,
Luke tells us. But we shouldn't forget that the latest researches on this history have proved beyond doubt, made by the Christian scholars themselves, that these two versions of the Gospels, where he is supposed to have ascended to the heaven, are later day additions and not found in the original.
I find it's very interesting that Luke and the Acts of the Apostles.
In Luke and Mark, in both these places, it has been mentioned that he ascends to the heaven. And both of these places are proved by the latest researches made by the Christian scholars themselves, and proved beyond doubt now that there were later day additions, and in the original text no such mention is made at all.
Now, as so far I've been listening to you as a Muslim, and on that you can say that about Mark, the end of Mark's Gospel, where the ending was incomplete. You cannot put an insertion to Luke in that same way, either into the Gospel or into the beginning of the Acts of the Apostles. You cannot say that there was an insertion made. It doesn't work in that way. But also, on this question, throwing it back towards question within Islam, I think this is the point of variance between your movement and also much of Islam.
Let me first finish from this point of view. I mean, if we have shown such patience with me, listening to such views, totally contradictory to your own views and all that, and in such a gentlemanly spirit, so show a little more patience and I will come to that.
You must allow us to ask you to remind us of what those points were, so that we can answer one after another.
Another contradiction in the biblical version is that according to one statement, he rose on the 8th day, goes to heaven on the 8th day, and according to the other version, he rose on the 40th day. So this contradiction itself tells us that these statements are to be taken with a pinch of salt. I mean, there is some definite contradiction between the witnesses.
One of them must be taken with
yes. At least one of them. When we refer to the researches made recently, as I have referred to, I don't remember the references, but I can supply you with those references. This can be proved that both are wrong, unfortunately. Both are assertions of later days. Now, coming back to the whole issue, as we reconstruct the story of the Bible, we believe that we respect and love Jesus Christ much more than those Christians who believe him to be a son of God and who believe that he died and then was raised from the dead.
Maybe this is like more than some of them.
We believe that we truly respect him and definitely respect him much more. Why? Because we believe that in the first place, the whole story of cursed death is a blemish on his character. He was a truthful person, he was a righteous person, and according to the Bible, he should have been saved from that ordeal. And he should have been proved to his opponents that he was a righteous person and he never claimed things about God which God had not spoken to him. Number two, we believe that according to our story, the whole phenomenon of prophethood in the world becomes consistent with the story of Jesus Christ. Because we don't see only this story being repeated, being enacted in the case of Jesus Christ, but we see the same story being enacted everywhere in the world. everywhere people are trying to put to ignoble death the claimants to prophethood, and their efforts are frustrated. Or if such a person who claims to be a prophet does die at the hands of his opponents, that death is not a cursed death. That death is just a normal death of a martyr. But in his case, in the case of Jesus Christ, in the light of the biblical statements, he must have been saved from death upon cross and should have died a natural death later on. Now, when we pursue this story further, we come to some very strange revelations, historical revelations, in Kashmir, in Afghanistan, in other parts of the world, where Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, is seen alive, traveling among a people who belong to the same stock of Israel, like Afghanistan, like Kashmir. And there, it is not a Muslim who is narrating that story. It is a third party, that is Hindus, who in their Puranas have recorded this fact, that in the time of Raja Shalbahan, a saintly person, saintly looking person, who did not belong to that part of India where Raja Shalbahan ruled. And I remind you that he is a contemporary of Jesus Christ, peace be upon him. According to Hindu Puranas, a person appeared while he was out on a hunting trip, Raja Shalbahan was, along with some other people who were not of the same area, who were foreigners. Raja Shalbahan was impressed by this appearance of this holy man, approached him and asked him who he was. The answer was that he was a Messiah. I got that the actual with Hadi Ali. Can you send someone to bring that? This Hindu Purana has been translated by a Hindu scholar, not by an Ahmadi or a Muslim scholar, in London. I have got his address too. Anybody can approach him and find out whether this translation is correct or not. In fact, I took precaution not to tell him what the debate was about. I just sent someone to one of the greatest Hindu scholars living in London, and I told him to please kindly translate this old Hindu book for us, this particular chapter. And according to his translation, when Raja Shalbahan approached this man, he said he was a prophet of God. His life was in grave danger. It was attempted that he should be killed, but Allah saved him according to his promise. Then he migrated from there to India to deliver the same message to his own people here, who belong to the same stock. This is the exact recording of the history according to the Hindu scholars. And when he asked him what his religion was, he said love. And he also told him that he was born out of a virgin. All this happening in Kashmir at the time when a contemporary of Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, ruled in Kashmir, is very significant according to us. So when we look for further evidence, it is a very interesting fact to be observed that Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, is accepted by the Buddhists as a Buddha. And when you go to the first Buddha, you again come upon a very interesting prophecy made by earlier Buddha, that about 500 some years from his time, another Buddha will appear. Now, Jesus Christ just fits in with that prophecy and is accepted as a Buddha this time in Kashmir and in other adjacent parts of India. And the same story which is recorded by the Puranas of Hindus is recorded by the Buddhists in Nepal. And according to their holy scriptures, a foreigner Buddha in the name of Jews